evening, and welcome to another episode of the Power Half Hour Unstoppable Business Owner. And I'm your host, Dorothy O'Dell, for this evening. Before we bring on our amazing guests, I just want to say a quick thank you to our sponsor. So I'll be right back. Today's show is sponsored by Carrie Petrucci, the Master Relationship Coach. If any of this sounds familiar to you, then you may want to get a hold of Carrie. My partner never listens to me. We're always arguing all the time. My partner always has to be right about everything. Our relationship sucks. It's boring. My partner never trusts me, and we fight over money all the time. We never agree how to raise our children. If this sounds familiar, then definitely go to www.highestintentcoach.com or give her a call or text at 510-593-0524. Because trust me, as a couple, you have the power to change. And for going to Carrie's website, you can also download 50 free things that couples can do to have more fun in the relationship. So go ahead right now and go to www.highestintentcoach.com. All right. Well, I'm super excited because I have heard nothing but amazing things about this gentleman. So, Matt, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So for those people that have no idea who Matthew is, tell us a little bit about yourself and what it is that you do.
Oh, thank you. Well, I'm a husband and been married for 10 years. We just celebrated our 10th anniversary. We together have 5 awesome children. It's a blended family, which sounds kind of violent, but it's really not. It's and I play saxophone. I've been playing, since I was 6 years old. I'm actually playing at church this weekend. But we started a business called Cornerstone, and we do financial planning. We teach people how not to be slave to the lender and how to leave a legacy bigger than themselves and not worship the wrong God in retirement. And along with a bunch of ministry stuff as well, like SportsFaith and so on, which we'll get into in a little bit.
Right. I love that. And actually, I met you through Angel, who is works with you at SportsFaith. And we've been blessed. I've been blessed to be with her in Arizona, and she's coming to Canada next week to be with us here for our golf tournament. And so, yeah, it's been a whirlwind getting to meet her. And she goes, you got to have Matt on your show. So I thought, okay, I trust her. Let's see her.
Well, we only got a half hour, so I mean, it usually takes me my name, so we're doing pretty good.
That's right. So tell us a little bit about SportsFaith. How did you start that organization, or why did you start the organization?
It's amazing when God gives you a vision on something. Sometimes you don't know why, and I really don't know why, because at the time, right now, I don't do a lot of stuff on social media. I post once in a while on LinkedIn. Usually just a daily verse and so on. But at the time, I didn't watch a lot of sports. I love the most incredible part about sports is watching your kids play. And so if any of you guys have kids that play and you know what I'm talking about, I'd much rather watch my kid do something than go watch athletes on TV. And I didn't. So if you don't watch a lot of sports and you don't do a lot with social media, obviously the next logical step is to start an online magazine about sports. And but I realized that how important it was to try to reach people for Christ, and utilizing a platform like sports, which is a religion in a lot of ways, really is a great platform to reach people where they're at. And so utilizing that, even, in fact, I remember I was doing a radio show. It kind of morphed into a radio show for a while. I was doing a radio show locally, and it got, on a couple of different stations many, many moons ago. And I was talking to one of the athletes. He's a Packer player. And he joked, he said, Matt, the only reason why somebody like you talks to somebody like me is because I'm a Packer player. And I said, man, I could care less what you do for a living, but they do. And if it gets them to listen and they hear the message because they said, oh, a Packer player happens to be on the radio, then we did our job. it's just a way to deliver the message, right? So SportsFaith is just utilizing sports as a platform to reach souls for Christ.
Right. I love that. I love that. And, you know, even like we're huge fanatical football fans here in this house. My husband hockey and my son basketball added to that. But when I forget his name, I knew it before I was going to go say it. When he had that like heart attack on the field this past
season. Yes.
And the entire world, like they were praying on the sportscast, and I was like, okay, you're never going to see this in a million years. Like you would never believe that was happening. And you know, it took almost a player dying for that to actually happen nationally on television. But could you imagine if that was like an everyday thing? Right.
Well, it would definitely tweak the viewership for the wrong reasons. But no, you're right. I mean, it's amazing how God will use a tragedy, and and everyone. I'm not sure if you've ever had the question, you know, why do bad things happen to good people? That's why. Mm-hmm. Because God shows up in those moments to make an impact, and it's not ours to understand the why. It's the how do I honor God in those moments, and how does that make an impact in other people's lives for the better? So yeah.
100%. As a matter of fact, when you said that, the first thing that came to my mind is like, I never say why me anymore. I never do, because, you know, I've overcome anything from bullying to an abusive relationship, to my uncle dying by suicide, to watching my dad die by cancer. Right. Mm-hmm. And the last thing, and my cousin just passed away of cancer last week. Mm-hmm. So in this, all of this storm, I don't say why me anymore, because I know that the reason why I go through this is to help other people, not only to have the empathy, but to know what they like. I cannot tell you what it's like if you were to lose your dad. I cannot tell you, like, I can empathize with you because I know what it's like, but your feelings are different than mine. But having that empathy and that understanding that, you know, when you watch somebody you love die, it's like, it can be crippling, but I chose to believe that there was a higher lesson in that. And that was to help other people, to reach other people, you know, because it's lonely sometimes when you're going through this stuff. And so, you know, God gives us this, lets us go through this so that we can help others. I truly believe anyways. Other than that, I can't find any other purpose than what I've been through. Right.
Well, the purpose, a lot of times, the speed bumps that we go through in life is so we can teach others not to hit the same speed bumps, or at least if they do hit it, we can help them get over so they're not devastated by it. I mean, and this has to be a prelude to something better, man. If you know, you being in Canada, just watching us go through an election cycle here in the United States. There's got to be something better out there, right?
Oh, I hear you. We have those troubles here. As a matter of fact, our now I don't know the whole story. All I heard was that our prime minister was getting a divorce, and so everybody's like, "Oh, Stephanie's lucky; she gets to divorce Trudeau. Can the rest of the world to get divorced from him as well?" And so I'm like, okay, that was a low blow, but seriously, our prime minister is no better than Biden. I think his name is, your president.
Yes. Well, actually, Biden thinks that's his name too. Anyway, actually, it sounds like your prime minister has to call Carrie Richards, right, and go through the relationship coaching.
Exactly. Good point. Yeah. Thanks, Matt. You just put a plug in for Carrie. You don't even know her. I love it.
Yeah, Carrie, she was plugged. God bless.
I love it. So how do you help people with your financial services then? Your Cornerstone Financial Services business that you have?
Yeah, there's multiple aspects. It's a great question. The main way is it's all centered around finding the need and fill the need, right? Not every story problem is the same, and not every story problem has the same solution. You know, so I've got people who come in here that are being crushed with debt. I mean, they're absolutely struggling with debt. Well, for me to sit there and say, let me show you my mutual fund portfolio, it's not going to really help them out much in that moment. So we help them get to a point of better by learning how to give less money to people they wouldn't want to in the first place.
Right.
So it could be high interest rates in that case. It could be somebody who's bleeding out in taxes, which I know Canada doesn't have any taxes, but just kidding.
We're heavily taxed. What are you talking about?
Really?
13% on everything we buy.
That's insane. Yeah. I was in sidebar. I was in Vancouver earlier this year. Beautiful city, by the way. And I'm like, how do people afford to live here? Because I think the median income's like 55 grand, but you have a 1-bedroom flat, just for $2,500 a month apartment. I'm like, I don't know, this bad. That story problem I don't understand. Anyways, but somebody comes in bleeding out in taxes and they're worried about how to pay the IRS. We come up with solutions and strategies to help with that. Maybe it's legacy planning that we help people out with, and so how to leave a legacy bigger than yourself. But it's all centered around how to make sure money is put in its right place. Because man, if you're going through retirement and you're worshiping that money god, and that becomes your focus, well, now you just become Gollum as you're precious, and it reduces the purpose of your life. So we help people find purpose beyond themselves, and we help people put money in its place and use it as a tool as opposed to a god. So.
Awesome. I love that. I just want to go to the comments here. Matthew says, for stellar healthcare, if you're referring to the 13% that we're taxed on, if that's for the healthcare, well, we still have to wait a long time in the hospital to even be seen. So you could say that.
I sense a little bit of bleeding sarcasm in the stellar healthcare comment. Yeah.
My aunt, my dad's last remaining sibling, lives in Hong Kong. And the last time she was home, she was like, she was appalled at the treatment that my dad was getting here in Canada when he was going through his cancer treatments versus her, where, she just calls and, everything's done like right away. Of course, I get they've got to pay, but when we're still paying for it. It's not free, guys. Our healthcare is not free. Trust me. So I love everybody's things on that, but healthcare is not free. It's taxed, and we pay it.
Yeah, I think Reagan had a quote that said, "The most fearful phrase that you can ever hear is, 'I'm here from the government and I'm here to help.'"
That's an oxymoron. Angel's joining us here. Says, "Hey, Matt, great wisdom from your favorite financial analyst." Love that. Yes. Thanks for joining us, Angel. I just want to take a commercial break here. We'll be right back. Ladies and gentlemen, are you tired of feeling stuck in your career and in your business? Are you ready to unlock your full potential and have your life like it's a walk on the beach? If so, then listen up, because today's show sponsor is the Left Foot Coach, an innovative entrepreneurial venture partner that will bring your income and self-expression to the next level. With his established 5-pillar methodology, the Left Foot Coach can help you build your solid foundation for success and expand your full potential. If you're ready to unlock your full potential and achieve your dreams, then schedule a free 30-minute inquiry call today by using this Calendly link right here. And trust me, as a client who's experienced his growth interventions already, you will not regret it. All right. So with that, I have to ask, Matt, what are the 3 things that you've overcome in business to get to where you're at today?
3 things I've overcome in business to get. Oh gosh, I should probably write those down. Well, probably we only got 15 minutes. Okay. The biggest thing I had, probably one of the biggest things is self-doubt and fear. Those are 2 big things when you're in business. And when you have fear and you look at something and you start to think, man, that just doesn't make sense. Nothing in business, nothing in this world, if it's extraordinary, makes sense. And who wants to be ordinary, right? So if you want to be extraordinary and you want to be outstanding, you are going to look different. Just like if you're a believer, you're going to look different to the world, and that's not always a bad thing. Earlier in my career, I started off doing healthcare, which I think the other Matt had talked about. Healthcare was vastly different when I first started in this industry, and I had gone through a really tough time in my business where built it up. This is before I was a believer. Built up the business. It was crushing it. And it all became about money. It became money focused, and I got really arrogant and very cocky, and went through a divorce, and ended up getting to the point where the business started to make weird things happen. I came to the Lord in 2004. I'm really trying to pare this down because this could be an hour discussion in itself. But I became a believer in 2004 through an odd relationship, and went through that, became a believer, and I'm driving down Ashland Avenue in my BMW 740 IL at the time, saying, God, it's all yours, take the wheel.
Wow.
And from that moment on, everything stupid that could happen to my business happened. I mean, stupid stuff. And I was on the board of 2 insurance companies, and I was coming in there in my late 20s, early 30s, talking to the presidents of these big corporations, telling them that they are going to blow up their company. And both of them did, actually. And what happened, though, I started losing cars, started losing boats. Every time I lost something, I could hear God saying, do you love me now? Pretty soon, I'm like, yeah, I still love you, but you can stop taking my stuff. But I was.
Did you feel like Job?
Yeah,
I've had those moments.
No. And people said, oh my gosh, you're going through your Job moment. I'm like, I read the book of Job. Don't whip any Job on me. That's a lot of heavy stuff. I mean, I went through some tough times. I still had my kids, and still went through, but lost everything financially, lost a home. And I was literally going through some really cruddy times. And at that moment, I had to go through it because later that year, one of my clients asked me to help him sell his business. And I said, sure, I have no experience. Why not? And I worked with him, and through the process, we were able to help him sell his business to his partner. And then he said, well, I want the money that I get tax-free, jokingly. I said, I'll see what I can do. I came up with a program. It wasn't tax-free, but tax efficient. Ended up saving them about 175 grand a year in taxes. But it was God restoring me and getting me to a rebound point where, after losing everything, I had to overcome this stigma of, okay, who wants to talk to a man about financial planning who lost everything? But man, I can sit down and talk to people that are blessed or cursed with affluence now. And I can also sit down with a person who's right across the table who goes, I can't even put gas in the car. How can you help me? And I can say I've been there. So it's really kind of a cool rebound, and God's restoration is awesome. And I needed to go through it because even though I gave my life to Christ, I was still holding on to the money bag and saying, okay, I'm going to put, God, you're in the front seat. Well, I'll put this money right behind you, because if you fail, I still got that to fall back on. I needed to go through that. So.
Right. And you're right. Sometimes we have to go through that. And it's funny because the first time someone said, well, it had to happen, I'm like, oh, I wanted to just punch the person. And then I'm like, well, wait a minute though. No, it really did need to happen. Mm-hmm. It needed to happen. And we don't want to hear those things, especially when someone tells you, oh, well, in order for this to happen, your dad had to die. And I'm like, that took the wind out of my sails, but it's true. Yeah. It absolutely was true. My dad was my hero, my everything. Mm-hmm. But I know that, and don't take this the wrong way, I would have been held back in certain areas. Like I wouldn't have been able to get past some certain areas. And I know that now. Like at first I was like livid when the person said this, but in the last 2 years, I come to realize, no, like everything had to happen the way it happened in order different things to work out. So in our darkest moments, the light is, I promise you, the light comes, but you got to get through the dark first.
Yeah, isn't it easier to see the light when you're in the dark, though? I mean, if you think about it, and you're absolutely right. We don't want to go through these moments. We don't, I mean, no one goes through the storm saying, oh my gosh, God, thank you. This is going to be an awesome experience, a life moment for me. I'm going to gain so much from this. No. And there would be somebody else. In fact, even Jesus is like, can you take this from me? Do I have to go through this? And look at all the people in the Bible. There is not one great easygoing life in the Bible that God used. No one's there saying, well, gosh, I just woke up. I'm a millionaire and I'm just going to give it all away and everything's going to land safely. I'm going to be awesome. No, everyone went through their bag of stuff, and that bag of stuff became their story that somebody can relate to. Mm-hmm. And because that, we get closer to God.
Absolutely. Angel says great insight. Absolutely. Totally agree. And so what 3 things do you help your clients overcome?
Themselves, fear. Yeah, a lot of it's overcoming the fear and doubt. Actually, just before this, that's exactly what they said. They said, Matt, before you, we didn't know. And sometimes it's just being able to walk through life with them and have them know that, yeah, even if life has a market year like last year, we're going to get through it because we're going to position things properly. But even more than that, man, we're going to be able to make sure that your life has purpose. Your legacy is going to be the stuff you're able to do with your kids today. But anyways, it's getting over the fear. It's getting over the definition of what money really is. Mm-hmm. And it's also just, making sure that they can be part of something bigger than themselves. So,
right. And that's funny. Like we were talking before the show started, and you asked how many episodes this has been. So between both shows, it's been 200 episodes, 202 episodes, and every single business owner that I've interviewed and asked that question, it's been they had to get over themselves. Mm-hmm. And help their client get over themselves. So it's ironic that as a business owner, we do it for time freedom, but it also takes a huge commitment, and it also takes I don't know about you, but this is constantly going. So this is the first thing that I got to overcome each and every morning. So, getting up, doing my routine, getting myself ready, my daily mental hygiene to get myself prepared, because this world is crazy. So
yeah, absolutely. It's my dad used to call it stinking thinking. Right? If you can't overcome the stinking thinking, then or Satan's daggers of doubt, right? How many times do those get thrown at us at a daily basis? If we believe them, then we become what those lies are, and we just can't believe the lies.
Right. Absolutely. Get past the stinking thinking, and I guess one of the biggest things is getting over what other people will think about us. Have you ever experienced anything with that in your career?
Going through the losing everything, it took me a long time to get to the point where I could tell people that story, because as a business owner, at some point we're always on stage, right? Mm-hmm. And we're always selling ourselves to somebody in some way or shape or form. And quite frankly, our world conditions us that we have to be something. That's marketing, right? Marketing is you're not good enough, you're not smart enough, you don't have this. But if you take this for $19.95, you will be whatever you want to be, right? Mm-hmm. So getting over those lies of that we are not good enough, because in God's eyes, man, we were prepared and made for greatness. And sometimes God's definition of greatness is different than ours. And would you agree?
Absolutely.
Greatness is, man, I held the door open for somebody today. I smiled at some, I cared enough to talk to somebody. I actually asked somebody how they're doing, and I actually paid attention and listened. How
Mhm.
many times we ask that question, we don't ever want to hear the answer because we're too busy in ourselves.
Mhm.
Yeah. So I think,
Or
yeah.
you
So
ask it in a superficial way, and then when you actually listen, people are like, "What do you really want to know?"
mhm, mhm.
you know, um, I
Or
work
you,
with a
or you can see a person that needs a coat and everything else, and you go, "Oh, I'll pray for you." Well, you know, you can just give them a coat, and that'd be a heck of a lot better. You know,
yeah.
the Pat Christian. I'll pray for you. That means I can go on my day and put you aside.
Yeah, and yeah, I won't go down that rabbit hole. I've had plenty of people that say that, and you're like, did you even hear what I even said? Like, what are you going to pray for me about?
Right, right, right. Uh,
Oh, I love that. Yes, we could do a whole hour show on that topic, but we'll
yes,
stay away from it.
yes.
Angel says here in the comments, it helps to have a great team backing you up. Absolutely.
Sure, absolutely.
And okay, so here's a question that I got to ask you, as somebody who is a recovering control freak. Do you find it hard to allow people to help you in your business? Or did it take you some doing to and allow other people to help you?
It's in the beginning, yes. Um, but I tell you, one of the best investments that people can have is investing time and resources in people. Because if I spend a lot of time doing the things I'm not good at, like organization and taking time to, yes, I can file stuff. Yes, I can do my own taxes. Yes, I can do all that stuff. But why would I do it when I can go to somebody and I can allow them to do it who actually likes doing it? Now I am blessed with some awesome people with Sherry and Abby and Nancy in my office, and my wife works with me as well. Um, that I say I create the chaos and then they organize it and they make it better. Um, and it's awesome. It's absolutely freeing. And my wife used to be a manager at a really large corporation, and she's been retired for about 7 years now. But although she does personal training as her side gig, as her retirement job, but that's a whole nother story. But her model used to be, I give them enough rope to hang themselves. But you've got to let people that you train and you manage and that work with you
Mhm.
the ability to make mistakes and fall. Because now you can train them on how to get back up and take care of the things next. Now, the best thing you can have is people taking away the responsibilities that you are bogging yourself down with. Um, I was just in a webinar today with somebody, a group of people, and they're all building their own websites and all that. I just wanted to say, like, oh my gosh, why are you doing this? Let somebody do it for you. You are wasting so much time in things that do not promote any bit of productivity for your business.
Mhm.
Let it go. So it's kind of like
Yeah.
the Frozen. Is that Frozen? I think they should let it go, and we shall sing that
Let it
together.
go. Yes. That's funny, yeah, because that's one of the biggest things that other than my own head, that's the second biggest thing that I've had to overcome is allowing people to help me along the journey, right? Or trusting that they're going to show up when they say they're going to show up. Um, and my business partner has this theory: you trust people until, like, you listen to how people are, and you, how does she say it? She says it so much better than I. You just listen to people and they'll tell you exactly how they are. So when people talk, listen, right? So they can be talking a good talk, but what are they actually doing? And so that has really, and that's been a huge lesson this last week for me. I trusted somebody to be their word and they didn't come through. And I was struggling with that. I'm like, seriously, it was tough for me, because when I say I'm going to do something, I'm there, or I'm in communication. Like if something major happened, I'm in communication with that other person that I promised that I would do something. So for me, having somebody not fulfill on their promise is just like, what is that? Like, I don't understand it. So Yeah. Just another one of those things I have to overcome.
Yeah, but no, it's having a good team in place, and the same thing with SportsFaith, like with Angel and Craig, and with the stuff that they're doing. And I know we're getting over on time, but allowing them, and not allowing them. I mean, my goodness, I mean they're taking the reins and allowing me to be part of it, and is making sure that their creativity is allowed to blossom. Um, and and getting good pieces in place so that people are not bogged down with things that rob them of their creativity.
Right. Absolutely love that. Well, Matt, I can't believe that half hour just went by so quickly.
Yes.
I just want to thank our guests for joining us tonight, and thank you for joining us tonight. And before I give you the last word, I just want to remind everybody today is the last day to register for the second annual Don Gray Memorial Golf Classic, which is coming up on the 19th in honor of my dad. And all the proceeds are going to the Chatham Kent Peer Support Group. And Jessica, who runs that and is the founder of that, has been amazing through our cancer journey, right from diagnosis to death. She's been there letting me know, hey, ask the doctor this, ask the doctor that, or, when you sit in a room for 3 hours at the first oncology appointment and you're told, you got a 50-50 chance to live, your mind kind of shuts down, right? And so I still remember that day. I still remember everything. And she was absolutely 100% supportive of us in those 2.5 years that was my dad's journey. So again, next Saturday, August 19th is the actual golf tournament, but registration ends today. So message me right away. We're having people from Indiana, Illinois coming. So it's not just in Canada. We do have people coming from around the world. So if you are interested, message me tonight before midnight, and I will make sure that you're there with us. Huge shout out to Pure Hot House Foods, who is a sponsor, Kara's Rose Garden, who is a sponsor. O'Brien Robertson Realty is a sponsor. We also have, who's the other one? There's more other. Social Media Solutions is one of our whole sponsors. Plus some of my brother's friends, they've decided to donate. So Brett Burton, Denny Browning, and of course my brother, Don Graham out there too. Don Graham II. Just want to give a shout out. And so, yeah. And so, Matt, where is the best place that people can reach you?
Oh, goodness. Well, if you go to the website, it's right there, yourcornerstone.net is probably one of the easiest ways to find out information on us. The phone number is 920-243-4188 is the main number.
920. Sorry, you want to say that again? Sorry.
I do. 920-243-4188 is the main number for the office.
Okay. I'm just going to put it in the comments so that people have that as well. Sorry.
That's okay.
811. There, it's in the comments. So either call him or get on his website. Set an appointment up with this gentleman. I absolutely love what you're doing, Matt. Thank you so much for coming on the show today. Any last words for our guest today?
Yeah. Well, first of all, thank you for having me on. This was actually a real pleasure, and it was you do a very good job of making sure that the host or the guests feel welcome and everything. And as far as the listeners, yeah, just allow God to work through you, and do not settle for lies and self-doubt. Allow yourself to be the best version that God wants you to be. And I thank you so much for this time.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. And thank you to our listeners. And don't forget, guys, same channel, same time next week. Check out our Roku channel, and definitely go check and subscribe out to our YouTube channel, which on all social media channels is Unstoppable Overcomers. So thank you so much. And we'll see you same time, same channel.